In the TV series Bright Sword, during the independent regiment's ambush of a Kwantung Army transport unit, political commissar Zhao Gang had a monologue. Although the Japanese soldiers were generally short, almost every one of them was stout and solid, with well-developed muscles and a sheen of oil on their faces. In contrast, the soldiers of the 8th Route Army appeared thin and gaunt, their faces showing the sallow complexion of malnutrition. This description reflects the dietary gap between the Japanese and Chinese armies during the Second Sino-Japanese War. So what did the frontline soldiers of the Japanese army eat during World War II? And what were the differences between the diets of the Japanese army and navy? In this video, we will discuss the food of the WWII's Japanese military. To understand the diet of the Japanese military during WWII, one must start with the resource structure of Japanese society as a whole. Japan is a typical resource-poor island nation with a small territory and limited arable land. After the Meiji Restoration, although Japan industrialized rapidly, it could never escape its dependence on external resources. Coal, petroleum, rubber, iron ore, and even wheat and rice had to be imported to meet demand. By the 1930s, Japan's population had exceeded 70 million, and domestic agricultural output could not support the enormous food supply, let alone the continuously expanding military expenditures. Thus, the militaristic Japanese government intensified its military expansion. It occupied northeast China in 1931, escalated to a full-scale invasion of China in 1937, and advanced into Southeast Asia in 1941. These actions were essentially aimed at acquiring strategic resources such as food, oil, and rubber. With the rise of militarism, the Japanese government gradually formed a national policy of prioritizing the military. Soldiers were seen as the central pillar of the state, and the military's supply priority was far higher than that of the populace. So, despite Japan's strong military expansion, the lives of ordinary people in the country did not improve. At that time, a common meal for the Japanese public was often a bowl of thin miso soup, a small dish of pickles, and a bowl of mixed grain rice, which included dried sweet potato, barley, and even tree bark powder. Meat almost disappeared, and vegetables could only be obtained through home gardening or limited market supplies. However, in contrast to the difficult lives of the common people, the Japanese military received much better treatment. As the core of the war machine, soldiers had to be well fed to fight on the battlefield. Therefore, even if the domestic population starved, the government had to guarantee the supply of military provisions. Especially in the early stages of the war, the standard of food for frontline Japanese troops was significantly better than that for civilians at home. According to the field ration standards promulgated by the Japanese Army in 1938, the daily food allocation for each soldier was 660 grams of polished rice, 210 grams of barley, 210 grams of fresh meat, 600 grams of vegetables, 60 grams of pickles, 75 grams of miso, 20 grams of soy sauce, 5 grams of salt, 20 grams of sugar, 3 grams of tea, 20 cigarettes, and 400 milliliters of sake. When away from field kitchens and in need of emergency combat rations, the Japanese army relied on so-called combat rations. Typical items included canned beef, compressed biscuits, and dried rice balls. The most famous of these was the Yamato ni canned beef, the type of Japanese can we often see in television dramas. Its main ingredients were beef or whale meat, stewed with seasonings like ginger, soy sauce, and sugar. It tasted good, was very nutritious, and was extremely popular with the Japanese soldiers. The biggest advantage of canned food is its long shelf life and the fact that it can be eaten right after opening. In rapid marches or field conditions, soldiers would typically pry open the can with a bayonet, then use chopsticks or a spoon to scoop out the meat, eating it with rice balls or biscuits. When conditions permitted, Japanese soldiers would pour the canned beef directly into a pot, add some vegetables and water, and boil it to make a simple beef soup. The Chinese army during the war was also very fond of capturing Japanese canned beef. In the anti-Japanese base areas, being able to eat canned beef was a source of great joy. The compressed biscuits in the combat rations were a standard dry food staple that every Japanese soldier carried in his backpack during rapid marches. It was modeled after Western military rations and was made by mixing wheat, sugar, starch, milk powder, and a small amount of egg, then baking it into extremely hard square biscuits, which were compress-packed for portability to help soldiers replenish carbohydrates. The Japanese compressed biscuits came in 2 sizes. A serving of the large biscuits was packed in 2 small bags, each containing 6 large biscuits, wrapped in paper and tied with hemp rope. A serving of the small biscuits was packed in 3 cotton bags, with one bag weighing about 226 grams, each bag constituting 1 meal. The Japanese compressed biscuits were hard and dry and needed to be softened with water before they could be bitten. They were a quick source of energy but were nutritionally one-dimensional. Besides cans and biscuits, the most common military food in the Japanese army was the rice ball. The Japanese have a long-standing custom of making rice balls to carry with them for farming, hunting, or when traveling. In modern times, the Japanese military continued this dietary culture, incorporating rice balls into its ration system. They were lighter than cans and easier to eat than biscuits, but their disadvantage was poor preservation, as they spoiled easily, so they were mostly used as short-term marching rations. The method of making them was generally to shape steamed rice into triangles or ovals, season it with salt, place a pickled plum, dried fish, or pickles in the center, and finally wrap the outside with seaweed. Japanese soldiers on the front lines would usually put the rice balls in a lunchbox and hang it from their waist or backpack. If they got hungry during a break in combat, they would take out a rice ball to eat as a meal or snack. However, due to their limited storage time, they often only lasted for half a day to a day in the summer and spoiled easily. Compared to other countries in WWII, the diet of Japanese soldiers showed distinct Asian characteristics. The staple food for European soldiers was bread, while for Japanese soldiers it was rice. Moreover, the Japanese preferred processed white rice. This white rice was milled and polished to remove the bran and germ layers, making it taste better, cook faster, and last longer in storage. However, it also lost important nutrients from the rice. As a result, many soldiers suffered from diseases such as beriberi, scurvy, and mouth ulcers due to a long-term diet of white rice and a lack of necessary vitamins, with some even experiencing tooth loss. On the battlefield, if even chewing food became a problem, it was a fatal blow to morale and combat effectiveness. The diet of the Japanese army could be described as merely adequate. In comparison, the diet of the Japanese Navy was truly luxurious. In the Japanese military, there has always been a saying, "The Navy eats meat, the Army eats grass." Because Japan is an island nation surrounded by the sea, the Navy has always been a key branch of development. In military budget allocation, it often received a larger share of the funds. This was not only reflected in warship construction and weapons procurement, but also extended to food standards. Since the Navy was smaller and more elite than the Army, and its activities were mainly confined to ships, its supply system was relatively closed and centralized. Ships would be loaded with large quantities of supplies before setting sail, so the Navy's diet was more stable and could maintain high-quality food for extended periods during long voyages. The Navy's culinary organization was also very professional. Large battleships and aircraft carriers were equipped with complete kitchen facilities, including large stoves, ovens, and cold storage rooms. The ship's cooks were mostly well-trained chefs responsible for preparing and distributing 3 meals a day. Taking the aircraft carrier Akagi as an example, its kitchen could prepare meals for over 1,000 people at once, with a weekly rotating menu to avoid monotony. Besides rice and curry, there were also bread, meat soup, and Japanese stews. The cold storage on board could store enough meat and vegetables to extend the supply of ingredients during voyages. This system allowed the Japanese Navy to maintain an extremely high standard of food even during the war. A typical day's meals were as follows. Breakfast included dried fish, seaweed, miso soup, pickled vegetables, and various types of porridge such as rice or millet porridge. Lunch was mostly Western-style meals such as pork cutlets, creamed chicken, and beef curry. The staple for lunch was white rice with 20% barley added, a measure taken to ensure nutritional balance and prevent beriberi caused by vitamin deficiency. Dinner was mainly Japanese cuisine with common dishes like sashimi, grilled fish, sushi, steamed egg custard, and vegetable salad. For the Navy, which lived off the sea, they would sometimes catch food locally near their anchorages. Lobster, crab, and fish also frequently appeared on their tables. However, the most representative meal of the Japanese Navy was undoubtedly curry rice. The thick curry sauce poured over white rice, accompanied by vegetables and meat, was not only rich in flavor but also relieved the monotony of long sea voyages. Curry rice was also convenient for large pot cooking, suitable for communal dining on board. Every Friday, Japanese warships would routinely serve curry rice, allowing soldiers to mark the rhythm of the week through taste. This tradition continues to this day. The modern Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force still maintains the habit of eating curry on Fridays. In addition to these main meals, they could even get snacks, candies, chocolates, and other sweets, which was almost unimaginable in the army. This shows the richness of the Japanese Navy's diet at the time. If we were to compare within the Japanese Navy, the flagship Yamato had the best food and most comfortable life. As the treasure of the Japanese Navy, the Yamato was the world's largest battleship, built by the Japanese government at great expense. It symbolized the prestige of the Imperial Japanese Navy. Therefore, to keep the crew in optimal condition and to display the glory of the Navy, the Yamato received special treatment in everything from material allocation to personnel treatment. Its food standard was arguably the pinnacle within the Japanese military. The Yamato had a displacement of over 70,000 tons, a massive hull, and a very spacious interior. It had a crew of 20,500, a full 1,000 more than the previous flagship, Nagato. Therefore, preparing 3 meals a day was a major task. To ensure exquisite dining for these men, the cooking equipment on the Yamato was also unprecedented. In the galley, there were dedicated food cold stores, cooking stations, preparation tables, serving counters, and food warmers. For the staple food, rice, there were 2 rice washing machines, and the washed rice was then sent to 6 huge electric rice cookers, each capable of cooking about 90 kilograms of rice. In addition, the ship was equipped with a device called an all-purpose cooking machine, which could automatically wash, peel, and chop ingredients like vegetables and fresh meat, and then perform grilling, boiling, and frying operations with comprehensive functions. The heating for this cooking equipment was mainly electric or steam-powered to avoid open flames on the warship and prevent fires. In the crew's living and dining areas, to ensure hygiene, there were 3 large dish sterilizers, also powered by steam. For food storage, there was a large 223 cubic meter food freezer with 4 sub-compartments for vegetables, seafood, fresh meat, and ice. It could preserve perishable foods like fish, pork, beef, ham, eggs, cured products, and fresh fruits and vegetables, allowing the officers and men to eat fresh ingredients at any time during a voyage. The storage of various supplies could meet the needs of the entire crew for 3 months. Alcohol was also a must. The Yamato's liquor storeroom held over 50 tons of alcohol, including Japanese sake and various foreign liquors like whiskey. What made the army particularly envious was that each galley was equipped with a 1-horsepower freezer for making ice cream for the soldiers. Even the chefs were first-class masters specially recruited from top hotels in Japan, so their skills were naturally impeccable. For this reason, the battleship Yamato was also nicknamed the Yamato Hotel. The food arrangements on the Yamato were truly extravagant. There's an anecdote that illustrates this well. It is said that when an army staff officer who had a long-standing feud with the Navy came to inspect the Yamato, the Navy, intending to humiliate him, arranged a meal for him based on the standard for an ordinary sailor. However, after eating, the staff officer was incredibly moved, saying that despite his harshness towards the Navy, they had treated him so well with fish, meat, and wine, it was simply too sumptuous. He immediately declared that he would never oppose the Navy again. The standards of food for the Japanese Army and Navy that we have just discussed were from the early stages of the war when Japan's operations were still relatively successful. However, as the war deepened, especially after the United States entered the war environment for Japan continued to worsen. Starting in 1942, the defeat at the Battle of Midway marked the end of Japan's strategic offensive. Thereafter, the United States launched its island-hopping campaign in the Pacific, gradually cutting off Japan's overseas supply lines. American submarines launched unrestricted warfare against Japanese merchant ships. After 1943, Japanese merchant ship losses were catastrophic, and maritime transport was almost paralyzed. This situation had a devastating impact on the diet of the Japanese military. The supply of the Army's field rations became increasingly unstable, often being cut off or short in quantity. Whenever they faced food shortages, the Japanese invading forces in China could often only rely on levying grain locally or even forcibly seizing food from the Chinese people to maintain their supply. But this behavior was like drinking poison to quench thirst. It could not solve the fundamental problem of Japan's resource and food shortages. On the contrary, the looting by the Japanese army sparked great anger and resistance among the local population, pushing more people to join guerrilla forces or support the 8th Route Army, further weakening the foundation of Japanese rule. This ultimately trapped Japan in a vicious cycle in China of fighting more as it became poorer, and becoming poorer as it fought more. The Japanese Navy, as the favored branch, also gradually lost its dietary advantage in the later stages of the war. The attacks by American submarines on Japanese merchant ships almost completely cut off the Navy's supplies. Many ships fell into a state of starvation during long ocean voyages, forced to lower quality and reduce meals. Especially towards the end of WWII, for the Japanese garrisons trapped on isolated Pacific islands, logistics completely collapsed, and supplies were almost entirely cut off. Many soldiers could only eat one bowl of thin porridge a day. Many units were too starved to fight, and wounded soldiers who could not get food were left to die of hunger. In the Battle of Iwo Jima and the Battle of Okinawa, the number of deaths among Japanese soldiers due to hunger and disease even exceeded those from combat itself. If the food situation for frontline soldiers was this grim, the lives of the Japanese public at home were even more difficult. During the war, the Japanese government implemented a strict rationing system domestically. Basic food items like rice, flour, oil, and meat required ration coupons to obtain, and the quantities were limited. In cities like Tokyo and Osaka, queuing for grain and taking turns to buy meat became commonplace. As the war situation worsened, the rationing standards were repeatedly lowered. By the end of 1944, the daily grain ration for an ordinary Japanese person was less than 2,000 calories, which was below the level needed to maintain normal labor. In just a few short years, the diet of the Japanese military experienced a cliff-like decline from abundance and richness to scarcity and shortage. This process reflected the collapse of Japan's national strength and the complete breakdown of its logistics system. The Japanese people also tasted the bitter fruit of their expansionist aggression. In the end, whether it was the army or the navy, frontline soldiers or civilians at home, all were engulfed by hunger. The naval curry that once symbolized glory was ultimately reduced to a bowl of thin porridge, becoming a sarcastic footnote to the demise of Japanese militarism.